When we learn something new, it doesn't always feel better at first. Sometimes it actually feels a lot worse, but if we don't make the change, we'll never find the improvement. I'm Callie, you're watching the weekly show here at CRK Training. And in today's video, I want to explain 3 reasons why this is true. That when we change something and we do something that's actually going to improve our riding or improve our horsemanship, sometimes it doesn't feel so great at first. But I'm also going to give you 2 kind of tests that you can do to see if the improvement is something that really is going to be better, even if it does feel awkward at first. The first reason that change can feel so awkward is because of the patterns that are created in our brains. So it's so much easier for our brain to take a pattern, for example, a pattern of movement, that it has created a stronger pathway for. The second reason is that besides these patterns in the brain for movement, our body develops as well. So we're going to have certain muscles that are stronger, we're going to have certain areas of our body that are more used to being lengthened versus being contracted, holding different positions and postures to support whatever it is that we've been doing. Even if what we've been doing has not necessarily been the most effective way of riding or of doing any kind of handling task with our horse. The third reason has something to do with kind of our belief system. So whenever we change something, we do have to acknowledge that what we were doing before was not as good, that there's a better way to do it. Sometimes this is really easy to do, but sometimes when it's something that we've learned, maybe we've practiced for a long time, that can actually be really difficult to acknowledge that, you know what, the way that I was doing it is not as good and that there's this better way, but it's going to take some work and some time to make this shift and make this change. Here's 2 tests that you can use when you have tried something new. It seems like it should be better, but it's feeling really awkward at first. The first thing is, especially if this has anything to do with a riding skill or with a direct handling skill with your horse, pay attention to your horse's response. If you're riding, how are they moving? How are they carrying themselves? What kind of even just subtle changes have you noticed in their posture, in their way of going, in their expression? Maybe little signs of releases of stress or little things that show you that what you've changed has actually made it easier for your horse, even if it still feels a bit strange for you. The second test is to consider the source. Is the source of the information that prompted you to try this new way one that you really trust? And if so, keep an open mind and just try it out. Give it some time for those the brain patterns to develop. Give it some time for your body to get comfortable in that new position or that new way of moving. In the last few minutes, we talked mostly about how this idea of change can feel awkward when we're changing something physical. You know, we're changing something in our riding. We've learned how to sit a different way or how to give a riding aid in a different way. But I think it's also worth considering if you might notice where some of these same principles of change feeling a little bit awkward can also show up for some of our behavioral patterns as well, and some of the things that we're used to doing, especially that element of where it can be really tough to acknowledge that a way that we used to think, something that we used to believe, might not be correct or might no longer be serving us, and how it's time to let that old way go and to really embrace doing something differently. I'd love to hear from you. What is something that you tried that felt really awkward at first, but then ended up making a big difference in your riding or in your horsemanship? Go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you're watching this video anywhere besides crktrainingblog.com, go there. There's many more hours of free resources, and that's where our best conversation always happens. So I'll see you there.